All right, so this is exercise 3. Now, in the last two exercises, we built indicator array interactors. I keep saying indicator, it's an interactor. And the point of it is so that you can kind of shoot out array that can interact with the world, right? But the problem is kind of like, well, they kind of shoot out of nothing. There's nothing to see. I mean, it is coming from the user's perspective, but it still kind of feels like it's kind of this imaginary or invisible thing. So what we can actually do, if you downloaded that sample folder they asked you to, we can actually use a prefab that's actually a representation of the Oculus controller. So if I go under samples, interaction toolkit, prefabs, and then controller, you'll notice it says XR controller left and XR controller right. These are both prefabs, and if you kind of look at it, essentially what it is it's a model of, or at least, I mean, it's not exactly, but it's pretty close to the, what a standardized, a VR controller might look like. And what I'm going to do is just literally add this in, and I'm going to do the same here. If you look underneath it, what actually is there's actually a bunch of buttons. So each button is mapped. So if you wanted to write code for that, you could. And you can see it actually puts the object in the scene. Okay. So there's the left one. Right now, they're kind of on top of each other, but eventually they'll move. Now, what's going to happen is when I preview this, the rays are going to come from the controllers. And not only that, this model of a controller, when you press on, for instance, like the joystick here, the joystick on the 3D model will correspond to it. Same thing when you press this trigger button here, the trigger on the side of the controller will work. So it's like, it's a nice sort of one for one if you want to sort of make it so that people can understand what's happening in relationship to the actual model, we can use this model here. Okay. Now, eventually, I'll teach you guys how to build your own kind of thing like this instead of just using a prefab. But for now, we can just kind of use this. It's something we can add super quickly. Obviously, I just did that really quickly. And I want you to try this out. And when you build it, and I will show you what it looks like, you will see that these correspond exactly to where your virtual hands go. All right, everyone. So this is exercise 3. So this is with the prefab there. You can see that, it is even showing the movement of my rays there. So it's just kind of, this could be nice if you wanted to have, it's even showing you, see how this is like going in and out. So if you want like a sort of a preset where the user can get a one for one, you can use that kind of to set up. Now in the future, this obviously looks like, it looks like a controller, right? It doesn't feel like it's someone's hand, or, it doesn't really fit the world. So we will talk in the next lab. I'll show you guys how to at least add at least a stationary or a static hand. Eventually, I'll show you guys how we'll work on building one that can actually be animated to grip and things like that. But, I'm going to, you can see I can point this just like all the other ones. I'm going to point here and click, and then I'm going to point back and click, and, there I am. Okay. All right, everyone. So in the last video, we added controllers, built-in controllers, but they still look like controllers, right? So in this exercise, what we're going to do is we are going to use custom virtual hands rather than the pre-built controllers. So these are the ones that you could build yourself, or you could find a controller, or sorry, you could find a hand model on like Polypizza or something like that. At this case, they're going to be static, meaning they just do this. There's no gripping action or anything like that, like you get from the controller. Eventually, we'll learn how to do some more advanced stuff like that. But for now, it's just going to be like, they can move like this, but there's no gripping action or anything. All right, so I'm going to start with the right controller.
And the easiest way to do this is I already have some hand models, and the hand models are in here. And what I'm going to do is take the hand glove, and I'm going to make it the child of the interactor. The reason why I make the interactor is the interactor has a origin point, its start point, and I want the hand to be based on that. So I put the hand in. Now it's facing actually the wrong way because if you look at these, I know it's kind of hard to see, but see that blue line? That blue line actually represents the ray interactor. And so what I'm going to do is take this and I'm going to rotate this about, oops, not that, but the actual hand glove. I'm going to rotate that about 180 degrees on the z-axis. All right. And I don't know, I can't really find any easier way to do this, but what I want you to see how like you might have to like, I don't know, zoom in on this video or something, but like, see how the line is coming right kind of into the, in between these two fingers, see that blue line? That's the actual ray indicator. Okay, so like when it previews, like what would happen is the ray would come out between the fingers. So you kind of should set up the glove or the hand wherever you kind of feel like it would make the most sense. I kind of like to go sort of Spider-Man, as I call it, where the ray comes from the palm, but it's kind of up to you how you want to do it. So this is supposed to be the right hand. Now, the way it's looking right now, this is kind of as if we were looking down on the hand from the top. I actually kind of, and if you actually look, like I'm going to grip the controller, your hand is already kind of tilted like 90 degrees, roughly, give or take. So what I like to do to make the hand feel a little more natural, and this of course has to do with the way that the model is I'm going to actually tilt this about 90 degrees, maybe negative 90, which would be 270. All right. And so you can see it's still coming. I might even like kind of do it like this. So it's kind of coming, see, it's like coming right from the palm. I might even raise this up just a tiny bit. Okay. This is where like fine tuning it. All right. So that should come right from the palm there. Okay. Um, I'll save that. All right, I'm going to do the second one. This one, I'm going to use the skeleton hand here. I'm just going to turn this one off temporarily. So the reason why is that both ray indicators are on top of each other, so it's a little confusing to look at both. So I'm going to do the same thing, where I'm going to put this as a subset of that. Oh, whoops. Give me 1 second. All right, I'm going to drag this one in, and kind of like with the last one, I'm going to just kind of rotate this. Um, all right, there we go. And I kind of want to make sure that both are kind of the same size. I think they are. Yeah, I'm gonna move let's move this so it's a little closer to where the hand is, because I want them to be roughly. I don't want to seem like one is further back than the other. Okay. So when I set up these models, I took them to Blender to resize them to be roughly the same size. You could do that in Unity too. But if you're going to build your own, you may want to consider like how, So I'm going to grab the ray indicator and see that's actually further back. The line is actually right there, I think. Oh, let me turn this back on. Yeah, so let's fix that problem. Actually, this is actually gonna have the line go through it. So I'm actually gonna, let's move this glove back. Yeah, that's good. So the rain indicator starts inside of the glove. Hello. Do I want that? I think I'm going to pull the glove back so it kind of starts at the tip of the. All right, so let's do the same for the hand. I'm gonna move this back. And maybe I'm going to turn this one like this. So let's. I actually need to flip it. So let's take the scale and I'm going to flip it by setting the X to negative. There you go. Although that means I'm going to have to kind of rotate it. Setting it to negative on a scale will flip it in that direction, either X, Y, or Z. That's why I did that. All right. And then let's rotate this a little bit. All right, and so right now it's coming right about there. That looks pretty good. I might move that up a little bit. All right, so what should happen now is when I build, you should get ray indicators that come directly from the hands, right? So this is a way that you guys can, build your own or, find hands that are more specific to your environment. So like if I was a skeleton, it's better to have skeleton hands, right? Or maybe I'm a bird and these are like wings, or you can think about how you could use custom hands to help your environment here, right? So that's kind of the idea. Let's
All
go
right,
into the
everyone,
video
this is
or into the headset and
exercise
you'll see what I'm talking
4.
about.
So you can see
All right,
how I
everyone,
have the
this is
custom
exercise
hands here. This is kind
4.
of the
So
Mickey
you can
Mouse
see
glove.
how
This
I
is
have the
kind of
custom
skeleton
hands
hand.
here. This is kind
So
of
you
the
can see
Mickey
how
Mouse
the
glove.
beam
This
is kind of
the
coming out of the
skeleton hand.
middle. So you can see how,
like I said, I
kind
might
of
have this kind
out
of
of the
go
middle.
a little more inward and maybe push.
Like I said, I
this,
might
and
have
I
this
could,
kind of go a
push the
little more
location of the
inward
hand
and maybe
in
push
relationship
this
and I
to
could,
the
push the location of the hand in
the
relationship
XR
to the
script, and that would maybe let me kind of move this slightly over. But this hopefully gives you kind of an idea. So it's like move this
now I
slightly
have
over. But this hopefully gives you kind of an idea. So it's like
they don't
animate
now I
yet.
have
Like I said, we'll eventually kind of do
hands.
something like that. But I can
They
at least
don't
have
animate
custom
yet.
hands.
Like I said, we'll eventually
So
kind of do
like
something
I don't
like
know.
that. But I can at least have
Let's say I'm
custom
inside of
hands.
this astronaut world.
So like maybe
I don't know.
these hands would
Let's
look
say
more
I'm
like,
inside of this
astronaut
NASA
world.
gloves,
Maybe
or
something
these
along
hands
those
would look
lines.
more like
NASA gloves.
I could put like
or, something along those
I could even
lines.
build this like
This is
I didn't
I
build
could
the
put, like,
arms, but this could be like a
I could
whole
even
arm.
build this like
This is
with
I didn't
maybe,
build the
like,
arms, but this
some
could be like a
stuff
whole
on it that you
arm.
can look at. With maybe
just
like,
to make it a little bit
some
more
stuff on
interesting.
it that you can look
So
at.
hopefully you see what you can kind of do
just
with
to make
this
it a little bit
make
more
this a
interesting.
little bit more.
So hopefully you
custom
see what you can kind of do with
and make
this
it a little bit
make
easier
this
for
a little bit more
users to
custom
understand the relationship
and make it a
between
little
the
bit easier for
controllers, which
users
are
to
normally
understand
in
the
their
relationship
hands,
between the
and
controllers,
these
which
virtual
are
gloves.
normally in their
Okay?
hands, and these virtual gloves. Okay.